Back in line, you dog! On your feet! Get them going!
Good. Right out of the gate. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever the case may be. Welcome to Cross Examinations Live. I'm your host, Mike S. Miller. Welcome to the deconstruction. No, wrong, false. Well, it depends on what you're deconstructing. Perhaps I should be deconstructing the atheist evolutionary worldview. What say you, fine people? What say you? Hello, Dark Admiral Marcher and Tina T. Our people should be in here. They've been sharing the link in the Discord. Where's Amy? Where's Amy? Or where's Missy? Anyways, someone sent me a lovely video. Hello, Amy. Someone sent me a lovely video in the Discord. Who was that? Who sent that? It was Gino. King Bob sent the video to hey, Tanner's here, Corpse Grinder. What's up, everybody? What's up? Because oops, dang it, wrong button. Share screen. Because obviously Corpse Grinder believes that if you can tell AI if you can get AI to say something, that is the facts. Let's see what the questions are that lead AI to these revelations about abiogenesis.
We know what the minimal amount of coded functional letters are required to have even the most minimal life form. We've observed that. Now, what is the mathematical probability of any kind of naturalistic chaining mechanism? Because one couldn't appeal to natural selection or genetic mutation when you're talking about the first life forming, because natural selection only operates on genetic information that's already in existence. It selects from that, and genetic mutations can only mutate a genetic code in existence. So we're talking about first life somehow naturally forming through naturalistic processes and arranging some chemical symbols in an exact row or sequence to result in the most minimalistic life form. So what's the mathematical probability of that happening, even considering Earth's supposed 4.5 billion year age, according to strict math, logic, and mathematical probability?
The mathematical probability of a minimal genome, about 200 to 300 genes, self-assembling through naturalistic processes, is less than 1 in 10 to the power 200, based on observed chemical constraints. Earth's 4.5 billion years, 10 to the power 17 seconds, is too short to make this probable, rendering it effectively impossible.
Wow. So you're saying that chemical evolution or life coming from non-life is basically impossible according to strict logic, mathematical probability, and observational science?
Yes, chemical evolution is effectively impossible.
I'm going to leave that right there on the screen. Are you convinced now, Corpse Grinder? AR, just fancy search engines. Gosh dang, yesterday you seemed very, 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 very convinced by Justin's being able to get AI to say things that you agreed with. Why are you suddenly rejecting AI's all-knowing, omniscient? You are trying to self-assemble modern life forms, derp. That's not what he said. He said minimalistic, the minimalistic life form, not modern life forms. The most minimalistic life form. Very interesting that even AI says there's a God, aka creator. No, look, this AI came to the same conclusion I got with my AI when I did the same thing. Abiogenesis is functionally impossible, and nobody can make an argument to the contrary. Y'all just believe it. Y'all just believe it because you have to. It's illogical. And even you can get any AI. A biblical AI conceding its points by using the Bible. What is abiogenesis? Life arising from non-life. Chemical components combining themselves into reproducible life forms. You have to believe that as an atheist, because you're as a materialist atheist. You can be a deist. You can have the position that God created everything, God guided life up to point, and then noped out. That's sort of the deist position. Can chemicals react? That's not the argument. Chemicals react. They don't form complex life forms, Grinder. It goes against the laws of physics that stuff goes from random to complex. The laws of physics say things go from complex to random. That is the direction of entropy. I know I'm boiling it very down. You're missing steps. No, you're missing a designer, intelligence, and creative power. That's what you're missing. It's not steps. Even you saying you're missing steps. Steps incites the idea of plans and intelligence. You can't get away from this crap. This fact, Corpse Grinder. Abiogenesis and evolution are different things. Do you understand? Of course I understand that. This is the great canard of the evolutionist. We're not talking about abiogenesis. Yes, we are. Because you can't get to evolution without abiogenesis. Do you not understand? Another straw man. I cannot wait. Explain how they are different. Evolution is the theory of the origin of species, to quote Charles Darwin. How already existing living creatures, through the process of mutation and of survival of the fittest, create evolutionary lines wherein they get more and more complex over time and more suited to their environment or to co-evolve with other creatures and the like. Abiogenesis is random chemical compounds becoming life, becoming reproducible complex life. As he noted, as you know, those are two different things, right? You don't have to believe abiogenesis to believe evolution. Fair point. But you do have to believe abiogenesis to be an atheist. Because without an intelligent, powerful guider, creator, it's impossible. It's not random. It's either random or it's guided. You just said it's guided. There's no third option. There's no third option, Grinder. Corpse Grinder is a creationist. Let's go. Let's go. Thank you, Corpse Grinder. If you want to see a non-strawman argument, check the video in Discord by Alex O'Connor. Okay. Let's see.
As it turns out, there are a bevy of logically consistent arguments offered on behalf of God. Take, for example...
All right, this is 20 minutes long, bro. Do you have a... Is there something? If I roll a 6-sided dice, can I roll an 11? Can you create a 6-sided dice out of random meaningless chance? Huh? Corpse Grinder, you clearly don't know anything about abiogenesis if you think it's not random. No, oh, I didn't mean... All right. I'll just stop sharing then. I'm glad you're here, Corpse Grinder. What is on the bottom of my coffee? Oh, coffee. For future watching. Corpse Grinder doesn't have to be a creationist. He could be a theistic evolutionist. Right, but he doesn't want to be theistic. Do chemicals work randomly? Unless they're guided. Yeah. What do you mean? You do you understand? He doesn't understand. All right, what is your... Tell us your theory of abiogenesis, Corpse Grinder. I can't wait to hear this. Tell us your working theory of how you think chemicals became complex, ordered, based on language, based on the language derived, not derived, the language from which amino acids derive their direction that turn them into proteins that allow them to function in specific ways. You are loading the question. I'm loading the question. I'm asking you how you think it's possible. You're not answering. No, you just don't understand the argument. Right. You understand, prior to amino acids being formed, reproducible amino acids, by the way, they have to be reproducible. They have to understand a language that gives them the direction to become proteins that allow those proteins to do something other than just sit there being nothing but a collection of amino acids without direction. You can't even start this argument without intelligent guidance. You're inserting this language. You are not offering any argument. You are offering zero argument, yet the zero argument you believe had to happen. This is how much faith you have. You don't even know the argument. You don't even know a argument for how life could create itself, but you believe it sight unseen, literally sight unseen, because it doesn't exist, in order to reject God. The faith on you. I wish Christians had that level of faith, dude. Amazing faith. I thought that I would not have to deal with chemistry after high school, and here is Mike. You say dirt, but you don't have an argument. It's astounding. You need to sit there and think about it. Why do I believe this thing that I don't have any valid information about? Where everything in the world of physics and chemistry goes against the possibility of what I believe, but I believe it anyways because I don't want to believe in God. Again, for the millionth time, I recommend reading The Science of God. I expect abiogenesis to be replaced as a theory soon. It won't be. What are the competing theories in abiogenesis? Shouldn't you know this? Shouldn't you know every possible argument and be holding on to one that you think validates your belief that life could arise from random, meaningless chemical reactions? Shouldn't this be fundamental to your faith in randomness, your faith in meaninglessness? Shouldn't it be my foundation is the Bible. I read the Bible, right? Because I believe God created the heavens and the earth in the beginning. That's what's fundamental to me. Your fundamental belief should not be a non-belief. Your fundamental belief is that all of this is possible unguided, unintelligently, without a cause. You have a uncause. Uncause. That's not a word. Uncaused is a word. Boy, you are clueless, yet you expect me to teach you middle school level science so you can even begin to understand the argument. You have made no argument. You have not even posited a theory. Zip. Zero. Zilch. I have, over time, expanded on I've read A. Wilder Smith's PhD's The Natural Sciences Know Nothing of Evolution, which goes into detail on how they claim the Miller-Urey experiment? I forget. Stanley, Miller, and whatever. The one where they say that they've created amino acids in a lab, and then you can reproduce that thing. All they're ever reproducing is unreproducible. All they're producing is unreproducible amino acids. Because in order for an amino acid to be reproducible, it has to have two identical strains of left and right-handed molecules. And that first step of the production of a reproducible amino acid is logistically, as the little AI thing said, it's logically impossible. Just that first step is logically impossible. Black Anglican, glad I found the channel. Right on. Welcome. Thank you. Corpse Grinder says, the guy that doesn't understand basic philosophy and debate. Once they do it in the lab, y'all will say, but it wa'n't found in nature, so you weren't there to see it, so nah. Well, here's the thing, Corpse Grinder. If they do it in the lab, it was done by intelligent design. You understand that, right? If you can create it via the intelligence of a scientist, which they cannot do, by the way, it would have been through an intelligent designer. You can't win either way because it's impossible. You cannot deal with the math here. You can't deal with the impossible. Random meaningless chance cannot produce even the first fundamental building block of life, the amino acid. Never mind that you have to have a language programmed into that amino acid in order for that amino acid to become a usable protein that'll do anything other, again, than just sit there and be a chain of chemicals. A chain of chemicals. I'm not brainwashed, dude. You're not giving any argument. You have no argument. You have zero, zip, zero, zilch. But you believe it. And again, that is what we call faith. Blind faith, actually. You have blind faith. I don't have blind faith. I believe very much. You keep adding random and meaningless to make the idea sound absurd from the start. Because it is random, unguided, meaningless, has no cause or purpose. How can a batch of chemicals have meaning? How can a batch of chemicals be anything other than random? You keep saying it's not random as if that's an argument. It's not random. If it's not random, it's guided. What is the other choice? How do chemicals react? It's still random, dude. What is your argument? Give me some kind of argument. You believe this with your entire being. You're resting your eternal future on your belief that life can come up from random, and sorry, yes, it's random, and meaningless, yes, it is completely meaningless, chance, and accident. This is what you are resting your entire eternal life on, and you don't even have an argument. You are implying a being causing the reactions. I am implying an intelligence guiding. Well, I don't even believe in abiogenesis. I'm just saying if that's the best argument you have for life beginning, it has no leg to stand on in either chemistry, physics, or anything else. Dude, some things are designed and some are not. You cannot tell a difference. An oven is designed. A tree is not. A tree's designed. What are you talking about? Tree's totally designed. You are implying it being causing. I'm not. Mike, what's the analogy about a tornado blowing through a junkyard and leaving behind an airplane just by chance? Have you heard that one? Yeah. It is actually more likely. Mathematically, it is more likely of a tornado blowing through a junkyard and building a 737 by chance than it is for abiogenesis to have occurred. You don't know what the argument, because you don't know what the theories are. Is there a new theory that makes more sense than the arguments that I've already argued about? I'm sure I can't keep up with all the people trying to make up bullcrap reasons why abiogenesis is possible, but go ahead and hit me with a new one, Corpse Grinder. And I love that you just admitted that you're just basing your entire worldview on theories. Theories, just ideas that people have trying to explain where life could arise from inorganic chemicals and maybe some lightning or whatever. We need Andrew Wilson here to get the semantics out of the way first. The tree has more complicated functions than an oven. Just saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Tree lives matter. If you haven't looked into it, how can you debunk it? If you haven't looked into it, how can you believe it? Give me something. Give me an argument. You're not giving me anything. All you're telling me is you don't know enough about this to make an argument, but you believe it through all the blind faith in the world. You are the blindest, faithfulest person I've ever met. Ben, what did I just walk in on? We're driving up to Mississippi. I scroll into this. We are arguing abiogenesis, Ben. You have a God as your answer and dismiss everything else. Bro, I was raised an agnostic. I was raised an atheist. I didn't automatically just dismiss everything until I looked into it. No, I'm not. You are. LOL. What a childish response. Corpse Grinder, every single time you respond without an argument, just buries the fact, or just builds upon the fact that you just have blind faith. Give me one of your arguments. You say, oh, all these there's all these theories out there now. There's all these theories out there. Because obviously the Miller-Urey one has been dismantled. Okay, so give us a theory, Corpse. The last guy that gave me another theory, you know what he said? He said, amino acids aren't the first building block of life. RNA is. I guess that's one of the new theories. That rather than the simplest possible building block of life being the first building block of life, the uber complex language already implemented RNA, ribonucleic acid is now the first building block of life. That's like going from hi, my model is that the Lego block is the first building block of life, right? And then instead they say, wait, that's not the first building block of life. This fully functioning Buick is the first building block of life. It's the theories get worse, Corpse Grinder. They don't get better. You told me you wouldn't accept anything because it's done in the lab. No, I told you that if there's human intelligence designing something, it's an intelligence. Is it not? Am I wrong here? If human intelligence is doing something, it's not intelligence doing it? What is your argument here? Personally, I find structuralism fascinating. I don't think I've ever heard of structuralism. You do not know trees grow entirely naturally. You think being is making trees. I think a being designed trees. Yes. Do you not know how complex the cellular structure of a tree is? Do you really? Scientists use language to make it easy to understand, but you use it as a trap because they said it's like a machine or a code. Because it is. Right. They say it's like a machine or a code. What are codes for, Corpse Grinder? Codes are languages. Code, language, it's just how many letters are in it. They are information systems designed. You cannot accidentally create an information system. You cannot meaninglessly create a language system meant to convey meaning. This is such basic logical understanding. How you are not understanding it makes me question how old you are and whether or not you've graduated from the 3rd grade. No offense. But seriously, this is insane. Trees happen, therefore God not real. Derp. Trees are smarter than atheists. Structuralism is a form of theistic evolution based around design. I mean, is it just an argument within theistic evolution that everything that has a structure has a designer of that structure? I mean, it makes sense to me. I see a thing that's obviously designed. I say there's a designer. Replication and design are different. Might be nice to consolidate the terms for the tree argument. Fair enough. Fair enough. Why are you saying God just designed it? He isn't currently controlling tree growth anymore. How do you know? First of all, how do you know? In the worldview wherein there is a God, and that God is that strange, strong force that is actually holding every atom of the universe together, that that strange, strong force that actually goes against the laws of physics. Weird, right? Then currently he is controlling tree growth. If God wants the trees to stop growing, guess what happens to the trees? Code is what people use to arrange the information. Thank you for agreeing with me. For easy understanding. We made the code out of what we see. It's not a code we found inside of stuff. If you have an amino acid, if you just have, say you have somehow created a reproducible amino acid, it is just a strand of molecules without meaning or purpose. You get that, right? Are you with me this far? In order for an amino acid to become a protein that does something other than just sit there without meaning or purpose, the molecules have to abide a code, a language that prescribes what the protein does. In other words, information, knowledge, meaning has to be written onto the amino acid's very being in order for it to become something of use. Prior to the creation, say abiogenesis is real, and this was the path that became life. Prior to the creation of the first reproducible amino acid, there had to pre-exist knowledge and guidance in order for that to become anything of purpose. Otherwise, it's just a string of chemicals, and that's all it'll ever be. Do you understand that? Do you have another argument for how the language of the amino acid, the code of the amino acid, gives direction? The code is information. You just wrote it. Code is what people use to arrange information. People use to arrange information. Who encoded the information into the first strand of amino acid that gave it purpose, that turned it into a protein that had that protein actually do something other than just sit there and be a bundle of amino acid? Explain it. You cannot. All you can do, corpse grinder, is derp. That's all you can do in this entire argument is derp, because you got nothing. You live by blind faith. You reject every reality in front of you. It's astonishing to me. It is so astonishing. Cognitive dissonance is real, brother. Amen. Corpse grinder. The world was designed, so everything is designed, and you don't have any non-designed thing to compare to. I mean, lava rock is not designed. Right? It's just molten lava spewed out randomly and then cooled in the ocean. There you go. That's what you get from non-design. Dead rock. That's what you get from non-design. That's all you'll ever get from non-design. Dead rock. Dead minerals. To it, the only time they have meaning or purpose is when someone with intelligence and purpose picks that lava rock up and builds a wall out of it. builds a whatever out of it, right? A watch on the beach is no different than sand on the beach. That's possibly the most insane thing you've ever said. Atheists design the trees. Meaning and purpose are things that people put on objects other than beings. That's, if you're talking about moral meaning and purpose, I'll go with you, right? The purpose, the meaning and purpose of a red blood cell is to transfer, is to go to the heart and get, or go to the lungs, fill itself up with rich, fresh oxygen, and then deliver that oxygen to different parts, and not just oxygen, but other, I think the red blood cells deliver the vitamins, minerals around the body. I'm not sure, but they have a purpose, right? Each cell in your body has a purpose. And that purpose is part of the overall function of keeping you alive until such time as it's time to stop working. So yes, things do have meaning. Things do have purpose. If you are a life, then every cell in that life has a meaning and a purpose to the building, the forwarding, the reproduction, the development of that life and its progeny. You cannot dismiss meaning and purpose from biology, unless you're an evolutionist, in which case... Wait, how do you mean this by code? Code is an instruction set used to execute commands, right? Without code, amino acids are just strings of chemicals. Meaning that the information of the code has to pre-exist the amino acid. So life doesn't create, you can't have life, you can't have amino acids creating information. They have to be guided by information in order to do anything. Imagine a living life where you can't be sure you exist, yet claim God doesn't exist. Ben says, I believe that the hand of God works in unseen ways in the seemingly simple things so smoothly that people don't discern it. Who walks through a natural forest, sees a tree, and thinks a person made it? Just crazy way to think and detach from reality. No one thinks a person made it. What? I think we're at confusion levels here, PC Joseph. I recommend watching a lot more Alex O'Connor if you want to make better arguments, Corpse Trainer. Yeah, seriously. Lava is bound by the laws of physics. Isn't everything bound by the laws of physics? Lava isn't going through chemical reactions. Yeah, it is. Does it become life? Christ rose from the dead 2,000 years ago, proving the Bible is true. Pretty simple. That is true. You just said God controls all that. Which is it? How does the blood do that? Oh, first of all, God controls all that. Which is it? Controls all which? I'm trying to reason with you here, dude, and all you're trying to do is argue. Stay on topic. Give me a reason you believe in abiogenesis. And give me a reason. Give me a theory you believe in. Give me a reason you believe in it. And give me why it's possible and that you would rest your eternal soul on that decision. How does blood do that? Chemical reaction. By design. It's a cell. It's not just a chemical reaction. It is a cell that's basically a fully functioning factory designed to carry oxygen and other nutrients around your body. This isn't. Let me see. You're like Darwin. When Darwin looked through the red blood cell, or looked through cells, all Darwin saw was a little blob of goo, right? Just a little blob of goo. I'm trying to find a better. He didn't see the intricate, nature of the cell. Actually, there's a bunch of different blood cells. I can't find one that actually has the diagram of a red blood cell. Let's see. Monocyte, basophil, neutrophil, eosinophil. I guess these all have different, platelets. Yeah. These all have different purposes, designs, and meaning to deliver different things around the body. I am not a biologist. I just know that a red blood cell, it's not just a little glob of goo, right? Oh, wow. Ew. Sickle cell. Target cell. Target. Hey. Morphology, shape, size. But yeah, they serve a meaning and they serve a purpose. And it's not just look at all the crap in there, and then they absorb the oxygen, they travel it. How do they know? How does a red blood cell know? Is it just a chemical reaction that a red blood cell knows that as it's going through its passage around the circulatory system, then it knows now is the time to collect oxygen, and then as it's going through, because it's microscopic. So to him, it's like 1,000-mile journey to get to your toes. But each red blood cell has to deliver oxygen to a different part of your body. Right? How does the red blood cell know not to just deliver oxygen to the heart on the way out? Or to your liver? Or to your arm? How do red blood cells know that some of those guys have to wait until they get to your toes to deliver their oxygen? Isn't it weird? It's not just, it's just a chemical reaction. I don't think so. There's so much more. I'm still stuck at the light before the sun, moon, and stars. Where was it going without ever knowing the way? Well, the same way that language, there must be language before there is code, right? Before the amino acid can know what to do, there must be a pre-existent language that it can follow, a code that it can follow, before the code is ever physical. So the same way, light had to pre-exist the emittance of light. All right? Language had to pre-exist the writing of language. Light had to exist before something that was created to emit light. You just said lava is random. I'm saying that lava is random, as in there's no design in the creation of lava rock. It's just molten lava either pouring out or whatever. Do you know the difference between design and random? I don't get. Sometimes you drive me nuts. Love it though. Is it random or guided? Make up your mind. Oh, so you're saying, does God guide every drip of okay, fine, dude. That's you're in the same sense that you would be saying that God guided the amino acid. That's fine. If you want to be a theistic evolutionist, that's fine, Corpse Grinder. I don't care. But we have to play in one field or the other. If you're saying that there's only ever material reality, there's no metaphysics, there's no intelligence behind material reality, then you have to always take the posit that everything is random. Nothing is guided. You don't have a stance to take to the contrary. I, as a theist, can say, yes, God may hold everything in his hands, but there's still a level of randomness that we accept that, yes, God created gravity and God created liquid and God created, he created the components. If he wanted to guide lava into becoming a statue of Jesus Christ, he could if he wanted to. But otherwise, the way things fall into place is random. Unless there's evidence that it has a design. Like the trees, the cells of the tree, the cells of the human body. Amino acids. Everything in this reality is bound by the laws of physics anyways. Outside of this reality, on the other hand... Correct. They left before the sun came out that day. I just love pointing out your contradictions. You're misunderstanding. That's why you think they're contradictions. Also, you still have not made any argument for abiogenesis. You realize that, right? Just acknowledge in the chat that you realize, yes, I know I don't understand anything about abiogenesis. I don't have a theory that I firmly believe in. I just believe it had to happen in order for me to maintain my worldview. My atheism. Just admit it. It's fine to admit it. Just say, I have blind faith in abiogenesis. That's what you're saying. Go ahead. Say it. Spit it out. Imagine looking at a city and not seeing any design. Cray. Right. Eternal summer singing. Is God a person? You are saying a person made trees in a natural forest. You believe a person created all things, don't you? I mean, yeah, but he's not a human. Well, Jesus is human now, but he wasn't human in the pre-incarnate, when he created everything. So, in that sense, yes. But when you say a person, I tend to think that you're meaning humans. They don't have a headbanging emoticon. It's so disappointing. He's going to say no to your question. God is not a person. Well, there's three persons of the Trinity. That's where I acknowledge that he's what he's saying. But he's not a person in the sense that he is a human being. So it depends on what you are using as a definition of a person. Blood cells knowing now. Well, something knows. Does a blood cell know? How does your body know? It's not your brain. Is it your brain? Is your brain communicating with every single blood cell? I don't know. I just know it works. Red blood cell took a shot in the dark and got lucky. I mean, you just think about it. There's red blood cells just streaming through like what to them seems like thousands of miles of highway. And somehow or another, the oxygen gets dropped off in the right place. There's enough oxygen to get to your toes. Sometimes there's not. That's why your feet get cold. And then, they go back and they pick up some more. I don't know how it works. Yeah, exactly. Define person. Put more people, things on everything else. Love it when Mike reads our fun aside on stream. We were quoting a song. Light before light sources. Ha ha. If light didn't exist before the light source, then what would the light source create? If there's no language before, or if there's no meaning to language, then how would the genetic code work? Not the genetic code. Would you call it a genetic code in the amino acid? The code that determine what amino acids do. The information code that directs the purpose of amino acid. If it didn't pre-exist, what would the amino acid do with it? Nothing. God talks. God has emotions. God has a will. He travels in a cloud. God is a person. People talk to him. Okay. You don't know the difference between design and not design because everything is designed. Again, a lava rock is not designed. And you mean the grand design? Okay, I'm trying to speak practically here. You understand the difference between a rock and a watch, right? You're not that dense that you actually believe that you said there's no difference between the watch and the sand on the beach, right? You can tell something that is designed by the complexity of its engineering. There is nothing more complex in engineering than the human body and the human mind. But you have to think, by your worldview, that was a random, meaningless series of accidents. Unguided, without purpose. Your worldview doesn't have not designed. Okay, I'm trying to speak to you as a practical human being, not in the grand scheme of, yes, everything has a design. Who said I accepted abiogenesis? You're a materialist atheist, aren't you? Are you not a materialist atheist? If you don't believe life could arise from non-life, then you're a theist of some sort. There are competing theories. Now wait for more evidence to make a choice. So you have blind faith. So you do believe in abiogenesis. You just don't believe in any particular theory yet? Wow, that's the blindest of faith. That's like, I believe in God. I just haven't picked a religion yet. Yes, God is a being and a person in the Bible. He is not a force. He has personality. Yes. Okay. 1 + 1 + 1 = 3 and 0 because God made logic. What? Keep going, Mike. You'll catch him. How can light be made if light didn't exist prior? I don't know. I don't understand why you can't understand this. I honestly, it's like some sort of a mental block. Light has to pre-exist the emittance of light. Otherwise, the emitter of light would produce nothing. I don't understand why that's hard to grasp. It's like the electromagnetic spectrum or the light spectrum or whatever It is information pre-existent to the use of that information. Is that too hard to grasp? Are you just trying to be? This is a very simple concept to me. The concept of a thing must exist prior to the creation of the thing that is conceived. You understand? The concept of light must pre-exist the action of light. The action of light is the emittance of light from a particular source. Of course, God says that he is light. So let there be light. Maybe he's filling his creation with his light. I don't know. I know there are questions I cannot answer. So do you look at trees in a natural forest and think a person made it? That's nuts. I think God as that person made it, and that is not nuts at all. Do I think he like makes each individual? I don't know. I know he designed the original trees. Those things didn't happen by accident, right? The design, the intricate design of the cells of a tree. Let's see, tree cell. Have you ever just in science class, like look at a tree under a microscope or a plant under the microscope? Let's see how complex a plant cell is. I don't know why I keep turning this off. Let's see how complex it turns. Open image in a new tab. And I understand that each of these little things it's pointing to just look like little blobs, but each of those little blobs are machines. Each part of the cell is its own machine that serves its own meaning and purpose and design. And they're brought together in every single cell of every single tree, of every single plant, in your broccoli and everything, right? So, yes, that is design. I saw that. Oh, I'm almost out of time. I saw that on Corner Gas, of all places. Was it language before thought or thought before language? All right. No difference in your worldview. They are both designed. This is all you. What's it called? Gish galloping. You're just going blah 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 blah. I don't want to tell you what I believe because I don't believe anything, but I have faith in what I don't believe is because it's true. Because what you believe isn't true. Blah. A watch is designed. A rock is not. You finally got something right. Rocks and trees are not designed. That's more complex than a watch. I hate to tell you this. The design of the cell, the single cell of the tree, is more complex than any watch. Biogenesis, panspermia, deep sea vents, and the like all seem to resolve to abiogenesis at some point. Yeah, exactly. Most of them just kick the can down the road or presuppose bio in an attempt to explain bio. Yep. Thank you, DJ. It is very simple, indeed. That was a very spot on way. Yeah, all the theories, they still boil down to abiogenesis. Objective ethics. Objective ethics. It sounds like you are talking about data versus information. These are not one and the same. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Let me see real quick. Gosh dang, this computer's so slow. Data, synonyms, dossier, evidence, goods, info. What does info mean? Conversation, information, intelligence. Well, I don't know exactly what you're inferring, objective ethics, but data and information are synonyms. Long story short, God is... Yeah. The RNA hypothesis seems to presuppose natural formations of RNA. See, that is so laughable on its face. I can't believe anybody posits it as common and both information and catalyst. I don't think that's true, though. The structures seem too complex to originate innately. Yeah. It's honestly, it's silly. How did God get his knowledge? The omniscient creator doesn't need to gain knowledge. Corpse grinder. Come on. You're asking like third grade questions. Seriously. All right. Molecular machine. Yeah, I know I'm out of time and I have a phone call coming in at 1:00. So I do need to bounce before that happens. Hope everybody's good. This was fun, but Corpse Grinder, come on, you need to think way deeper about this stuff. Like, honestly, I like you, man. You're a good guy, but damn, you've been coming up so short all week. This is the worst week of your career. Arguing. You need to let go and think deeper about these realities and the evidence before you, because just not wanting to believe in God is not an argument. So anyways, thanks everybody. God bless y'all. We'll see you on the next exciting episode. I guess that'll be Monday, hopefully, if I'm not too busy on Monday. So God bless us, everyone. Peace.